1985, South African Grand Prix. I wanted to take a look back at this one because this was the first ever Grand Prix I went to. I was a kid and I was there to see the Alphas and the Porsches and the Ferraris. My mom was there to see Ayrton Senna. She was a huge Ayrton Senna fan. The 1st of May 1994 was the last race she ever watched. She never watched Formula One again. But yeah, as a little kid, I loved Alphas. I still love Alphas. So I was there to see the two Alfa Romeos. I was praying for some sort of miracle that they would win. But some bloke called Nigel Mansell in a Williams Honda was on pole position with Nelson Piquet in second in a Brabham, and his Keke Rosberg third in the other Williams, and Ayrton Senna had qualified fourth in the Lotus Renault. Mark Sierra fifth in the other Brabham, and Elio De Angelis sixth in the other Lotus. The 1984 world champion Niki Lauda, he had qualified eighth in the McLaren Tag Porsche, and his teammate, who had just wrapped up the world championship, Alain Prost, ninth in the other McLaren. And I had to look pretty far down the grid to 12th and 14th to find Riccardo Patrese and Eddie Cheever in the Alfa Romeos, and even further down in 15th and 16th to find Alboreto and Johansson in the two Ferraris. And then some commentator called Martin Brundle, he was in a Tyrrell Renault at the time. He started 17th. It's cool looking back at these names and going, yeah, I saw these guys race. I was there. That's pretty cool. So as the cars formed up on the grid, they waited for the lights to come on, which, if it was today, would be a very, very, very long time.
Already somebody's moving further back as the light goes green. Mansell makes a good start. So does Rosberg. Rosberg alongside Piquet as they get away. Somebody on the grass, on the dust. The two McLarens both going wide, but Mansell has made a superb start, and it's Mansell strongly ahead. Rosberg has faltered and has slipped well back, but it's Nigel Mansell who takes the lead. Look at those two. And that's the Alpha. One of the Alphas rides over somebody else's wheel, goes right across and takes the other one with it. The two Alfa Romeos both out on the first corner.
Yep, fantastic. First corner, both Alphas out of the race. Great stuff. That's why I was sitting actually on the first corner at Crowthorne Corner, and the Alphas parked up there, and I got to at least stare at the Alphas for the rest of the race. Not doing anything, but they were there. I think it was Piercarlo Ghinzani they tripped over, and I think it was Eddie Cheever's fault. It was probably Eddie Cheever's fault because his name's Eddie, and my name being Eddie, I understand it's always my fault, so it probably was Eddie Cheever's fault.
Through the kink and onto the fastest part of the circuit, the up and then downhill straight. Piquet second, De Angelis third, Senna fourth, fifth is Rosberg now, and sixth is Niki Lauda. Sierra is seventh, Prost eighth, and challenging for ninth place, challenging in fact the Tolman of Fabi, it's Alboreto. So Alboreto, the man who will finish second in this year's World Championship. He knows he now can't catch Alain Prost, but he's moving up. There's Senna with Prost coming through, but on Senna's tail it's Rosberg. Senna, Rosberg, and Prost is attacking. You saw it just out of the picture there. Prost is attacking Sierra. Prost trying to follow Niki Lauda through with Alboreto, Fabi, and then the first of the arrows, which was in fact Berger there. And an altercation going on between the two Alfa Romeo drivers. Patrese on the right, Cheever on the left. It was Patrese who came across, bouncing over Ghinzani's Tolman, and took his own teammate Cheever off.
Yeah, it was Cheever's fault just for being there, honestly, must have been. So I'll tell you a little story here. Nigel Mansell had just won his first Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix, the race before this one. And then pole position here, he was kind of upstaging his World Championship team winning teammate here in Keke Rosberg. And Rosberg wasn't having any of that, so he decided he's going to charge through the field here. He got past Senna. A lot of overtaking was done at turn one. That's why we sat there, so we could see all that kind of action down that straight. Rosberg was on the charge here. He got by Senna and started hunting his teammate De Angelis. Lined him up on the straight. This is the Williams Honda power. The Honda engine. Certainly, the turbo cars were loving it at altitude in South Africa. This is Mark Sura. He came into the pits. He had an engine problem. They took the whole car apart, but he retired. In the meantime, his teammate Nelson Piquet was in trouble because he had Rosberg in his mirrors. And Keke came storming by. The flying Finn was flying. It was great watching him just overtaking everybody right in front of us. It was really cool. And Nigel pulled out a bit of a gap. And Rosberg would chase him down as the two Lotuses started to want to pass Nelson Piquet. And then they got past Nelson Piquet because another Brabham with engine problems. BMW engine not liking it. The two McLarens got past, Prost leading louder. Senna had enough of looking at his teammate's gearbox. He lined him up down the straight. They lapped the back marker. D'Angelis covered the inside. Senna went like a trailer park girl round the outside. That's how they used to racing these days. It was so great. My mother loved that. Senna overtaking right in front of us. Piquet hit the pits. They decided to try and take his Brabham apart to see what was wrong. And Piquet decided, well, you guys do that, I'll be in the back. He retired and walked into his garage. Meanwhile, back on the track, it was Rosberg, not keen on seeing his younger number 2 teammate winning races in the same car as him, so he took the lead. And as he did that, coming up, this was Piercarlo Gonzani in the Tolman. He blew his engine and decided it would be a great idea to drop oil all over the racing line here. And look at the numpty. He keeps going and going and going and dropping oil all over the place. Pull off, you numpty. He eventually did. The Tolman, that would become Benetton the next year. And then Pierluigi Martini, he hit the oil and spun. Turn 1, as you're hitting the brakes for Crowthorne Corner off that massively long straight, over 200 miles an hour, you hit the brakes and there's oil all over the place. So, yeah, not clever. And that's exactly what happened to poor old Keke Rosberg. Nico's dad binned it in the sand, right in front of us again. Maybe you can see me in the background there. So Mansell took the lead, Rosberg got going, and, well, Ferrari had to retire. Michele Alboreto did well in 85, he finished the championship second. No other Ferrari driver would do that till Prost in 1990. Speaking of Prost, he was lining up at the Lotus here. Elio De Angelis trying to fend off Prost. Prost had the slipstream and late braking, got him on the inside. And just for good measure, Lauda followed through, and De Angelis got stuck a bit in the oil and got a bit slippery. And Rosberg, he would have to come back again. Once again, he, after that spin, found himself in 5th place and would have to charge back through the field. And he started with Elio De Angelis. And then, yeah, there goes a Tyrrell on the oil, straight into the stupid fencing they used to have back in the 80s. Rosberg, he pitted. He decided he was using up his tyres. He pitted for some fresh rubber. And in 1985, believe me, 9 seconds was a quick pit stop. Nowadays it's 2 seconds, but yeah. Niki Lauda, he did the same thing. He was a bit jammed up behind Alain Prost and thought, well, maybe we can get him with fresh tyres. So he popped into the pits. But he had some trouble. The right front sticking there. But Lauda got out eventually. And then he had some engine problems, so he came right back and retired. Prost caught Mansell, but they would both pit, and Mansell would storm away from Prost on fresh rubber. And Keke Rosberg was breaking lap record after lap record. He eventually caught and passed Alain Prost into 2nd place now. Ayrton Senna had retired, which disappointed my mother thoroughly. and Rosberg with a kick of smoke up in Prost's face as they went through the S's. It's good to see the old track again. I like the new track, it's cool, but it's good seeing the old track. This track was cool. It was fast. Prost, he was running out of fuel, but Mansell wasn't, and he took the checkered flag. And Keke Rosberg, after breaking the lap record, like on every lap towards the finish trying to catch him, he crossed the line second, and Prost, the only other car on the lead lap, managed to trickle home in third place. And we did get a Ferrari of Stefan Johansson came through to finish fourth. Let's see what Nigel had to say.
That's the story of the team. They've just been fantastic, unbelievable. We had a great pit stop. We had a lot of pressure from Alain, but fortunately I made no mistakes through the race, and it was just very good.
You made an excellent start too.
Yeah, that's very important for me to get away cleanly, because there was oil and dust at the first corner. I just wanted to get there first and take my time and get through, and it worked very well. And I knew Keke would be charging through, so as soon as he caught me, I let him pass. And then, as it would have it, the lap he came past, someone spilt oil down at the bottom corner, and he hit it and just went straight off, and I almost followed him and went straight off. So he was unlucky, I was lucky, but I was just sitting there conserving my tyres, so perhaps I would have raced with him for the win anyway.
Was the traffic a problem for you?
No, the traffic was very good for me today. I timed it just right to get past just at the right place on the circuit, so they didn't hold me up, and then they hold Alan up probably 1 second each time, which was very good.
Very helpful of them.
Yeah, I mean, I must thank Gerhard, because I don't think he did it intentionally, but I had a big gap when Alan got behind Gerhard.
And you had a good pit stop too.
The Cannon Williams Honda team, I mean, fantastic guys. There they are there. I mean, they've won the race for me again. It's just a fantastic team effort, and I'm delighted that now I have number 2 win underneath my belt.
So there you go, guys. 1985 South African Grand Prix, my first Grand Prix. I went back again in 1992 to watch, and same result. Nigel Mansell won in a Williams. That's it for this video, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, have a good time all of the time.